And they're off, both starting at Link's house, or Luigi's house in this case, and it's just 20 rupees for them. So something that may come in handy, but isn't useful just yet. And right off the bat, we're seeing a route divergence here. Suiko's heading down south, it looks like he's going to check out the dam. And NYRambler is heading over to the Haunted Grove area, probably going to grab some bombs at the start of the game underneath the 50-50 bushes. And he does get one right away. He in fact has 2 bombs. He's going to take those and get out of there, thinking his work is done for that. Up at the sanctuary, he finds a small key, which he will use for exploring the rest of the castle at some point. And Suikoboj, or Suikoboj, finds 300 rupees for draining the dam. Now that's a very good early head start. That'll give him enough money to buy from the bottle vendor, enough to buy some bombs at the start. And just a piece of heart inside the dam. He's going to save and quit out of there. And he's heading back up to Sanctuary. NYRambler gets 8 drops from a bomb, or 8 bombs from a drop there. So he'll be able to have his bombs fully maxed and seeing even more from the bug, in this case, dropping out bombs for him. So he heads into the Lumberjack's cave and just sees 50 rupees, which indicates Aghanim's not required, at least for that purpose. Unfortunately, looks like Suiko didn't get the crab and didn't kill enough enemies, so we're not going to see him with that early 10-bomb advantage. NYRambler sees a piece of heart where the mushroom would be in the forest and says, yeah, I want that, it could come in handy. But a full piece of heart for NYRambler dropping down in the forest. Suiko, on the other hand, sees that piece of heart, is a bit undecided, but eventually thinks, no, I don't want that. And as these runners move into the village, I'm going to give a shout out to Elias, who's going to be clicking madly at the bottom of the screen, or clicking madly on his own screen, to light up those icons at the bottom of the screen and give you a sense of what the runners are carrying for gear, especially as the seed goes on. So NYRambler heads into the village. He's going to bomb that wall in the thieves' hut and check out these 4 chests. He gets a bottle with what looks like blue goo for the first one, a piece of heart, some more bombs, and an upgrade to his arrows. And the single arrow is hiding at the back of the thieves' hut. So aside from that bottle, nothing really helpful for them here. And he's showing his distaste to the man as he drops the bomb on him on the way out. Looks like Suiko wasn't able to open up the back of the thieves' hut, so he's going to go visit the bottle vendor and by chance get 3 bombs from him there. NYRambler heads down into the well. At the back of the well, he finds more bombs, just some 20 rupees at the front of the well. One more heart container, the blue mail, and a smattering of rupees. He is unfortunately one short of visiting that bottle vendor, which is going to nag at him a bit, especially because he's going to come back later and only find 3 bombs from that. Not what he's looking for. Between the bottle vendor and one of those chests in the basement, Suiko was able to get up to 6 bombs, now down to 5, so that'll be enough for him to clear out the rest of this village, as NYRambler finds just 20 rupees in the chicken hut. He also apparently raids the cash box at the back of the bar, finding just $20 and stealing the bartender's hard-earned tip money. But cashing in that bottle they got earlier, he's going to get a hammer out of the deal from the sick kid. So that, at least, gives them a weapon to fight with as Rambler goes and grabs his bombs from the vendor. So after clearing out the village, they have some bombs, a bottle with the safety, some better armor, and the hammer, which will kill enemies but doesn't give them a lot to expand their search with. Checking at the library, NYRambler sees the red mail, which he might come back for when he has the boots. And he's not even going to check what's at the race game, he's just going to run straight towards it. Suiko gets his hammer from the sick kid in the meantime. And it looks like it's just 20 rupees at the race game. NYRambler is going to say, no, I don't want any of that. I'm just going to save and quit out. I expect we'll see him head to South Hyrule here. And I am joined by Sir Beater of Arse. Good evening.
Hey, welcome. Welcoming myself to the channel here. What I missed so far?
Well, they have a hammer. They have a bottle with blue goo. They have some blue mail, and they don't have a lot else.
Ah, good start. That means it'll be a jet seed.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Seems to me with version 26, if you get a lot of items early, it's always a total troll, but if you just get absolutely nothing at the beginning, it's a jet seed.
It's certainly heading that way, by that reasoning, yeah.
My logic's not always the best, but, you know.
Alright, so NYRambler is going to head down into the castle, and Suiko's going to head down into the uncle area, which I guess he did not do on his first pass.
Alright, just
Both
trying
of
to
them. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just say I'm just trying to get caught up here. Have either of them cleared through escape yet?
They have not done escape. They have done the village area. Suiko covered the dam, and neither has gone to Sahasrahla or Mini Moldorm.
Alright then. A lot of stuff still to clear.
Yeah, of course, Agina and Ice Rod Cave also unchecked, but I'd be very surprised if they had checked them anyways at 8 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. It's got some hearts from the tree pull, that's helpful.
The one good fortune they did have with the setup of this seed is the little bugs under the bushes are throwing out eight bombs at a time.
Ooh, that's very convenient.
That's very generous, yeah.
Notice Suiko's got a decent amount of rupees. Did he do the Houlihan room?
No, he got 300 at the dam.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, I don't know. We might see him go up to Zora with a fake flipper pretty soon, but...
It might not be a bad play. I like to wait this logic for the Moon Pearl so you can get the new waterfall chests all in one shot.
I agree. If I'm going to be glitching up in that northeastern area, I like to glitch as much as I can at once.
Yeah, it's always better to get as much use out of that as possible.
So, looks like Rambler got all the way down to Zelda and just found a burrito, or rather Zelda's chest. So he's going to be out of there with the map. They did get a key from the sanctuary chest, which means they could get through the sewers. But without the lamp, I don't think either one wants that.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough dark room if you don't have to.
It's a rough dark room. It's a long way to go for a single chest.
This looks like this is set up though, so we should have some pretty good items in Mini Moldorm though.
I hope so. So NYRambler gets these 300, which were the same ones Suiko got. So that puts them on roughly even rupee footing.
Looks like Suiko's making his play to the Mini Moldorm cave also.
Yeah, so despite the initial divergence, they are within seconds of each other here.
The hammer hitbox on the Mini Moldorms is going to be fun.
I think they'll be fine as long as they don't hit a hole. But with that extra heart, Rambler's probably okay. And just getting trolled by that guy not going south enough. Alright, he makes it through.
The bomb
Suiko
strats are
opting
almost...
for...
The bomb strats
Yeah.
are almost easier there.
Alright, so we have a synced Mini Moldorm cave with the hook shot. So I'm wondering if we're not going to see an early Death Mountain availability.
Yeah, especially because you can get all the way to Hera with that, so that's not a bad idea.
Exactly. We haven't seen a map check yet.
Yeah, even if Hera's a pendant, if you have access to it, it's not bad because you can knock it out so quick, especially if you don't have to deal with the basement.
Yeah, that's right, and, given the weighting of dungeons to be generally better than not doing dungeons, I think that's a good play if they go there.
Yeah, absolutely. And even more so with the fact that pendant dungeons always seem to have at least one thing important.
They really do. So it's just 10 arrows in the Ice Rod Cave.
Totally worth it.
Yeah, that brings them up to a big 11. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that to you. They found the single arrow in the back of the Thieves' Hut, and I feel like I've been remiss in not bringing you up to speed on that important development.
I mean, that's a key item. You can't be in go mode without that.
No. As for the question in chat, how do each runner's skill compare to the other? I haven't seen these guys race myself, so I'm just going to base it on the first 13 minutes. I think they're pretty equal. I think if they keep up like this, we're going to have a very close race.
I saw we had a green pendant there in Eastern, vanilla green pendant. I didn't catch what desert was, and I think Hera was a crystal.
I didn't even see the map.
It was a quick check.
But there was a heart container, a heart piece, and some rupees at the back of Sahasrala's hut.
Alright, we get the red pendant in desert, and crystal number 2 in Hera.
Yeah, so Hera's looking very attractive. But these guys are going to check Eastern first while they're here. Potential 3 items to pull. Less than that if the logic is against them, or if they don't really want to do the dark rooms.
It's not a terrible idea because there's some good value usually in those available chests, and it doesn't take that long to come back in if you have to double dip it.
That's right, the ground you're retracing is not super bad. But just a piece of heart for the first item.
They have the hookshot here, so they can do the slightly faster way over here on the right side.
Oh, that's convenient. And just a compass. So I think for that Hera play that we're expecting, we're going to be looking for either the mitts, or I'm sorry, the gloves, or the flute in here. Suiko remembers he has the hook shot, heads south.
Yeah, that's true. They don't have the gloves. They'll need one of them to be able to get up there, even not counting for the lamp.
That's right, if it's the gloves, they'll also need the lamp from somewhere. So NYRambler will be able to open this big chest here, and inside, the silver arrows, which do nothing for him now. Completely useless.
That's another thing that always seems to happen in V26, is you always get the silvers before the bow.
Yeah, you find yourself wandering around Hyrule going, I have the greatest weapon ever forged. Can I have something to use it with?
You'd think it'd still do some damage by throwing it at the enemies, you know?
You'd hope. So it looks like Rambler's comfortable doing those dark rooms. So he's going to make his way through there in pitch black. And Suiko's out of there. It looks like he's heading down to Agina.
That's a very out-of-the-way chest, but if it's got something good in it, it can make a huge difference.
And, in fact, I can't think of a different chest that they have available to them right now.
Unless it's Zora.
They can't even get to Zora. They don't have a glove. So, I'm sorry, according to the logic, without glitching. So Rambler's heading down there as well.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's the only place we could get progression via the logic.
Mm-hmm. So, we did see that third chest in the Eastern Palace, and it was an item, it was a heart container. So Rambler has a slight edge in health that he'll probably carry for most of the rest of this race.
And there's the flute!
In the last possible logic allowed location, the flute to get them up the mountain.
Alright, so with that, they'll be able to get up to Death Mountain, clear out all the chests on the east side, and head to Hera.
Yeah, they, I think they have their work cut out for them really nicely right now.
Yeah, this has been, so far, quite linear. It's telling you where it wants you to go.
Yeah, it might feel less linear if they had been checking Agina's cave first, but let's be real, no one goes to Agina's cave until they absolutely have to.
Yeah, that's the
just
last
because
place.
It's so far out of the way.
That's the last place you check right before you do Aghanim, too.
That's right. Sadly, neither of them checked the desert ledge, so we don't know what's sitting there. Which isn't critical, but is always nice to know.
Yeah, the more information you have, the better, even if it takes a couple extra seconds to walk over there.
Well, that's right. The other thing you missed that they were checking was 50 rupees in Lumberjack Cave. So probably not acre required.
I keep waiting for that troll fetch quest item in there that leads to something important, is we get a sword up on top of Spectacle Rock.
Well, that's a troll in and of itself.
You can see it, but you can't have it.
NYRambler's not even bothering with that or the heart container. He's just going to go straight east, probably intending to loop back down there once he's done Hera.
That makes sense, because that way if you pick up the mirror over here on the east side, you can just kind of get all of the things there.
Yeah, I do like that approach he's taking. So a blue boomerang and another piece of heart for Rambler. And he's going to head up now to the second half of this 7-chest Paradox Cave. Suiko gets locked behind some dead rocks, and we see a piece of heart, red rupee, another piece of heart.
I think we can all agree that the dead rocks are the worst enemy in this game.
Absolutely the worst in any Zelda game. And just a lot of little bits of love for NYRambler, as he doesn't quite make the bomb jump.
I wonder if this is one of those seeds where Hera's gonna have the gloves and the moon pearl.
I mean, for their sake, I'm kind of hoping it has the mirror just so they can start with a sword, but...
Where's the fun in that?
Well, it is kind of fun in a mean way to watch any runner run around the overworld knowing where that sword is and not being able to grab it.
That's probably the meanest thing we could do to them. Is we have just an arrow upgrade on the floating island.
So Suiko clears out his Paradox Cave. And does not attempt the bomb jump.
I don't know, for some reason I find the Luigi falling animation very hilarious.
Yes.
We get an early big key in Hera. Hopefully they won't have to go to the basement, because they do not have a fire source.
That's right, Rambler is going to check up top here.
There's the glove!
You called it, there's a glove. And rather than head to Hera, Suiko is going to go straight through the spiral cave. Get it out of the way right now. So this is a long walk, doubly so with the boots, or without the boots, but he may get something useful out of this one chest.
Not a bad idea, just a little bit longer walk to get back up to go to Hera afterwards if there's nothing important in here, and it's not. Moon Pearl! Wow!
The Moon Pearl in its vanilla location. I was worried NYRambler was going to take the fall there, and I'm glad he didn't.
So that's going to open things up for these guys quite a bit.
That's right, and I believe that's both items out of Hera now, so they won't need to run around in the basement.
That is correct. I believe Troll Dorm here will have the small key. And then the map will be in the basement chest.
That's right, so this is a test of how well can you hammer? How well do you understand that strange warping hitbox?
A little low on health too, gotta be careful.
But he gets the third hit.
Nicely done.
He didn't fall, I'll call that fight a win.
Yeah, it's always a win if you don't get knocked off.
So just 24 minutes in, we have our first crystal of the game. Suiko probably going to get his soon, as he's also reaching Hera now. And it looks like NYRambler's going back to the Spiral Cave.
That's a good choice. That's not one you want to forget, even if you'll be coming back later once you get the Titan's mitts.
That's right. You know it's available now. You know it might have something. You want to clear that out.
I think he was thinking about, he does have the blue goo, so I think he could have done Spike Cave there, and I think that crossed his mind.
With the hook shot, I don't think that's intended, but it might just be possible.
Yeah, I don't think that one's in the logic, but you can definitely do it with the blue potion.
So Suiko's making his way up the tower. He gets his Moon Pearl also. And let's see what Rambler does with the whole world open to him.
It's like Village of Outcasts. It's never a bad place to start.
No, it's a very good place to start. Suiko has done a save and quit out of the Tower of Hera. Now he does have both items, but he's going to be missing that crystal.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of there is not being confident with hammer strats on Moldorm. That hitbox is tricky.
It is definitely a tricky hitbox, and if you can come back there with a sword, probably a better play. Besides,
get a map check here. We got a blue pendant in Swamp.
And I saw 5 and 6 at Skull Woods and Thieves Town.
Alright, so sword and fire rod blocked to get to Fat Fairy.
That's right. And only a sword and fire rod, which is pretty lenient for the Fat Fairy requirements.
Yeah, definitely early, which would make me have that in the front of my mind.
So neither player confident enough to dip into Skull Woods right now, but they are both going to check the Village of Outcasts. And with things like heart containers in there, that's probably a good idea. Beef them up for some of these harder Dark World enemies.
Yeah, especially without having the sword, it's quite a bit easier to take damage when you're trying to hammer things, so that's definitely nice to have a little bit beefier health bar.
Absolutely.
So we have Rambler dipping into Thieves Town here, which is a really nice dungeon to be able to complete without the sword if you have the hammer, because you can get all the items, and Blind takes the same hammer damage as he does any of the swords, so it's not really any more difficult than it would be.
That's right. Suiko just finds 20 rupees at the bottom of Thieves Town, in the bombable hut, or the bottom of the Village of Outcasts. And he's going to get a heart container here as well.
Got nothing of note so far in Thieves. And then there's the Cane of Bran.
The blue cane is just what they want to see, I think.
That is definitely not a bad thing to have coming into the blind fight.
That'll make certain parts of the blind fight, particularly the end, kind of trivial, if they want to use it.
And since we were just talking about the Fat Fairy requirement, that's a nice item to have for Mothula, too.
Yeah, so it looks like that running straight to Thieves Town is paying off for NYRambler here. Suiko's doing South Dark World, and going at the digging game.
Oh, that's a good point in chat. That Kane O'Brien also makes Spike Cave available in the logic as well.
It definitely does. So Suiko comes out with another bottle, this one containing a fairy from the digging game. So if he's worried about safeties at all, that will do nicely for him.
Another small piece of heart from Stumpy.
I wish I was counting these. They've got a lot of those so far. As NYRambler finds one as well.
They are not hurting for health 30 minutes in. But we'll see if Hype Cave lives up to its name today, or if it lives up to its V26 mediocre cave reputation.
What do you want to see in Hype Cave right now?
Another sword, or possibly the red cane?
Those are good picks. I want the bow, personally.
I would enjoy seeing the bow if I was them, that's for sure. That has been a troll item lately.
But a sword and a shield.
The Uncle Starter Kit.
In addition to the 2 pieces of heart. I think Suiko did pretty well with this loop.
Yeah, that is not a bad Hype Cave right there, given what they have. Is Rambler gets another piece of heart in the jail in Thieves Town.
That's right. And in the big chest, another heart container, bringing him to 12 hearts total.
Big chest, big heart.
So it looks like that's all 4 items out of Thieves Town for NYRambler. He is going to take on Blind here and probably come out victorious. Going straight for the cane. And we can see there just how much lag the cane generates when you have that and 2 heads and 4 fireballs on screen.
That is nice use of the cane right there. That is probably one of the nicest I've seen of that done.
Uses all his magic, needs no more of it, and that'll be 2 crystals for him.
As we see Suiko also making the play into Thieves Town here now that he's got his sword.
Yeah, with the sword and the extra bottle, he'll probably find this dungeon a bit easier than NYRambler did. And it looks like NYRambler is going to take the South Dark World loop that Suiko himself was running just a minute ago. So he'll come upon his own first sword, and probably wish he had it 2 minutes earlier.
Yeah, he would have liked to have that sword for Thieves, I'm sure, but doing it this way will make it nice because he can head right up from Hype Cave and check the pyramid, and then possibly Catfish or possibly Pod.
That's right, depending on what he finds, he'll have a lot of places he can go. Just going back to Suiko's earlier decision to save and quit out of the Tower of Hera. In retrospect, I think that was pretty clever, because he knows he's going to end up there right at the end of the game anyways. So we can see him beat every other dungeon, and then in front of Ganon's Tower, mirror out, get his last crystal, and go back in.
That's true, that's not a very long trip up the Moldorm, and he already knows that he's got all the items out of there, so that's, you know, maybe a minute of time.
It is something we'll have to keep in mind as the race draws to a close, that Suiko has a bit extra to do if it's close, but ultimately, I think if he wasn't confident, that was a really clever strategy.
Yeah, it's better spending a minute later than 5 minutes now.
That's right. And yes, both runners have checked Eastern. NYRambler cleared it all out. Suiko came up 1 heart container short. So nothing of interest there at all for them. Suiko having a bit of trouble with, or NYRambler having a bit of trouble with the guards. But he's going to get his sword and shield here.
And that's true, this is set up so mirror may not be required in this seed since Swamp is a pendant.
That's right, that first sword they saw might end up being their last sword or not acquired at all.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to come into play if they're stuck with Fighter Sword headed towards G Tower and still haven't found the mirror yet to get that one.
Yeah, do you take the other minute just to be sure you have the sword you need, or do you go straight in and hope for the best?
And even more so if you're not confident doing Master Sword Ganon if you're trying to find Tempered as well.
That's right, that sword leaves a lot of uncertainty in this seed. I like it.
It's nice to have that hanging over their heads.
So we see the red boomerang sitting on the pyramid, NYRambler not interested.
He looks like he's gonna head up towards Catfish, perhaps?
That's my read on this. And Suiko has made his way all the way through Thieves Town. He's going to come on blind here.
We'll see what strats he decides to go with on this. Oh, he's got the sword, never mind.
Yeah, that'll make this easier. And it looks like he has an idea of the script that blind follows, so he's going to capitalize on that as best he can.
Taking a few hits, though.
Unfortunately, the flute does not assist in the fight with blind, but he's just going to switch to Kane and clean up.
There we go. That was a little too close for comfort.
I think he is still running a fairy.
Oh, that
and
is
another
true.
piece of heart. Another piece of heart for Rambler.
It'll be interesting to see where Rambler heads to now. Looks like he's headed to the back of Sanctuary.
Yeah, this is a great play right now. 3 chests, 3 very easy chests.
And we know that they're all items.
I think that's right.
Flippers!
Well, that'll work out nicely. I think he's going to head to Zora now.
He's got the money, I definitely would if I was him.
So Suiko now heading over to Death Mountain again. So possibly doing Hera at this point.
I think that's all that's left for him up here, so I'm guessing so.
Just 20 rupees on the island in the lake.
Let's see a good item for once from the hobo.
With the way this is going, I'm expecting a piece of heart.
It's It's a safe bet.
Ah, shucks.
Close enough.
I'm a bit concerned when the ability to carry more bombs is close to a piece of heart, but...
It's just as useful.
I'd agree with that. I think there's about equivalent value there.
It was slightly more useful a couple of versions ago when the upgrade also gave you a bomb.
Yes, in the spring tournament we saw a lot of people getting their first bomb upgrade.
Oh, the V18 days.
So NYRambler going to take those flippers and check the Waterfall of Wishing with a fire rod and another heart container. So that opens up Skull Woods.
That's definitely pointing towards doing Skull Woods as soon as possible.
They did already have the front half free. Neither checked it, but I think now it's definitely the play.
Yeah, with the propensity for items being in there anyway, plus the fact that it'll get you to the Fat Fairy, that's a great idea. We see Suiko getting the safety hearts from the safety pots. Ooh, nice save on Moldorm there.
Yeah, not quite getting knocked off. NYRambler getting just a life lesson of 20 rupees from Zora.
Surprisingly, haven't seen too many 20 rupees yet. I think they've all been replaced by heart pieces in this seed.
That's certainly what I'm thinking.
Nice spin attack to finish off Moldorm.
So that'll be his second crystal. And clearing out Tower of Hera. But it looks like Rambler's making the play for Skull Woods.
They are now even up on crystals, with Suiko just a little bit behind, not having the fire rod.
Goes in, checks his menu, realizes I don't have the compass. The compass must be in the basement, and he doesn't want to take a 1-minute break.
the coffee break tile room.
Looks like Suiko is also doing the Dark World here. We'll see what he does with that, since he can't finish Skull Woods right now.
I mean, going through this portal, that's probably what he's thinking, is to check the front of Skull Woods.
And with the cape there, that may still be a valuable play.
It could be we haven't checked to see what's in Bumper Cave yet, so that could be an important item in a really trolly spot.
Suiko gets into a fight with the bee while he's in the woods, and fortunately wins.
Shouts to Vitorp. Nicely done on the beetle off the bumper.
That is a nice trick to pull off. So he gets the big key, and it looks like he's going to go for the bomb jump in this room. Get straight to that chest and see what it has.
Little tough without the boots. You have to line it up pretty perfect.
But he gets it. For another small key.
Might not be a bad idea to do a death warp here.
That's right, as long as he does it inside, he will get quite a few hearts out of the equation.
Doesn't want to do it to a Popo, that's for sure.
And Suiko not doing the bomb jump, but using some incredible range on that hook shot to get to the back of the room anyways, and come down for the big chest.
Rambler clearing out the room before moving the statue, which is the easier way to do it than trying to manipulate the Gibdos. And gets a fireball shield for his trouble.
So now he's going to take the death warp. It looks like that was intentional. And
the fairy.
oh, right. He had one of those.
Hate it when that happens.
Well, he has some health back now.
Ooh, Suiko getting picked up by the Wallmaster.
That's about the worst room for Wallmasters in the whole game.
I would definitely agree with that.
Certainly not the most devastating, but definitely the most frequent for getting grabbed.
You always seem to get grabbed right when you get the statue in the right spot.
That's right. Suiko also using up his fairy here. Rambler has his 2 items from his dungeon. He's got his fire rod. He is motoring through to the end.
Ooh, missed that shot. Oh, he has the blue goo. He will have to burn it here to get the magic back to be able to hit this last torch.
That's right, but he is making stellar use, I think, of these resources the bottles gave him.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have the flute, so it's not far for refill.
No, and they definitely have the cash for it. So Suiko gets his red shield here, but without the fire rod from the Waterfall of Wishing, he can't finish this dungeon.
I would head over and check the bumper cave as soon as I could, now that you have that cape, and hope that something important is there.
That does seem like a good play. Of course, we know that I think the really good play is the Sanctuary Rock, and hopefully he goes there soon.
This is true. Solid Mothula fight by Rambler.
Very clean, leaves him with a lot of health. As Rambler gets his 3rd crystal. And if he wants it, can get to the Pyramid Fairy.
With the amount of things that they still have access to, I think that that would be a pretty quick play.
So Suiko's heading south here, and I'm not immediately sure where... Oh, he's going to talk to old Stumpy. I think he's been here before.
I thought so.
So I'm not entirely sure where he's going. He might be making a play for the pyramid, catfish, and pod.
That's what it seems to be. Unfortunately, we know that he's not going to find much there. At least on the pyramid or catfish. Also not totally sure where Rambler's headed at the moment.
No, he's cleared out this area. Going into the forest, he might be heading east. Probably to go check the bumper cave.
Some of the routes through there could be a little confusing if you don't do them all the time, because it's not something you do much in vanilla.
That's right, that's a very strange path out of the forest, but it's an effective one.
The mirror! Ooh!
Well, this was an effective check for him.
And Skullwoods comes through again, the cape leading to the mirror.
That's right, so the mirror will open up a couple more spots for them to check. It'll open up Swamp Palace, though I think they'll avoid that if they can. And it'll give them a second sword if they want it.
Yeah, that would be a thing to do pretty soon, is go grab that sword, which it looks like is what Rambler's going to do right now, and check Spike Cave while you're up here.
Yeah, you know, it takes a minute to get that sword, but it's such a significant power upgrade.
Yeah, it makes enough of a difference, you'll make that time up really quickly.
As Suiko collects one of the many pieces of heart.
Rambler passing on the full heart container inside Spectacle Rock. As much life as they have, that's not surprising.
No.
Getting trolled by the mirror.
Better, perhaps, than getting trolled by the bully, but still not pleasant. So it looks like Suiko's heading back to the Dark World. Hopefully he's going to check Bumper Cave and keep moving east.
As Rambler flutes away, doesn't check Spike Cave. So we still have that piece of information hanging out there. But he does seem to be headed towards the Fat Fairy right now.
That's right. Yeah, so it looks like Suiko, not aware of that other route through the forest, but still knows that, hey, I can get to the Bumper Cave. I've got the cape, so he's going to find a mirror.
Taking some abuse from the Murderdactyl.
That thing takes a lot of hits when you're only using the fighter sword, and can't get by that one with a better sword just yet.
I always found this to be such an interesting game mechanic that you could pass through the bumpers with the cape. It's just something I never would have thought of as a kid.
No, and it's used in very, very few places.
Yeah, nothing exciting at all at the Fat Fairy. Really surprising based on how this was set up.
Yeah, the seed was certainly setting them up for a good, powerful early Fat Fairy. So it looks like Suiko has found the Sanctuary drop. So this will give him access to the flippers and potentially going up to the Fire Rod.
We have Ramblers heading into Pendant Swamp now, which is a bit of a gamble because they have full access to Ice Palace, which is a crystal dungeon.
They don't have Ice Palace.
They don't have the other gloves. I'm sorry.
That's right. With the Titan's Mitt, I could see them doing Ice Palace or Misery Mire right now.
Yep, it's true. I forgot that Ice Palace needs the second glove.
Suiko's going to go get his level 2 sword here. But I agree, this is still a bit of a gamble because Palace of Darkness is open to them. And might just have the thing they need to progress.
Yeah, without the bow, that could be a quick end to that dungeon if you don't get a key in the first chest, but since it's a crystal, it's a little bit better play if you get lucky and find the bow in there.
I do see the merit in this play Rambler's making, though, because he can full clear this dungeon. It'll take him a few minutes, but there are 6 items here. And if we're going by the general idea of every pendant dungeon has something, he expects he's going to have to do it at some point. So now, when he knows that he might not be able to do pod, now seems like a fine time to try that out.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad play with the item density that it has and the fact that we don't know if anything's on pedestal and that he can complete the whole thing.
That's right, we could still see a couple of things on the pedestal. So Suiko visits the hobo and is going to get the bomb upgrade, not the piece of heart.
Taking the same path that Rambler did, just a little bit later.
And it does look like he's going to head back down and hopefully do Zora. Or rather, the Zora area.
We get the magic powder in the big chest in Swamp. That's always a nice safety item, probably my favorite.
Yeah, as you head into those larger dungeons, the powder can do you a lot more good than your 3rd or 4th bottle gives you.
It can be an absolute lifesaver in Turtle Rock.
Suiko gets his fire rod. And it looks like NYRambler is going for the left side full clear of the Swamp Palace. I think this is a great decision right now. He's expecting to clear out the entire dungeon, and so there's no point in finishing and coming back.
Yeah, I totally agree. Considering most of what you're doing is looking for items, there's no reason to leave anything out there. He did it the extra safe way to make sure he didn't drown the key, so that's always good. You never like to see that.
And Suiko is going to get his life lesson as well. So with the fire rod in tow, I'm hoping Suiko heads to Skullwoods.
That looks to be the case. We get Quake.
And not having the mitts yet, we don't know if Quake's what they want, but I think he's not going to turn up his nose at it. Taking the mirror back to the start of the dungeon, rather than walking back to the main room.
That's an interesting choice.
I haven't actually thought about this. I'm not sure if it's faster or slower or almost the same.
To be honest with you, I have no idea, but I've never seen anybody do it, I don't think.
Well, I'm certainly not going to fault him for it. It's given me something to consider.
Yeah, something to go time later.
So Rambler's going to head into the back of Swamp Palace, and Suiko has made his way to Skullwoods, and he's moving through to the back. Not a lot of health on him right now, only 4.5 hearts.
He is out of safeties also, so it might not be a bad idea to take a death warp once you pop inside. Well, he picked up a heart there from the Popo. We find the bow and half magic back to back in Swamp.
Well, this was the right play.
It certainly was.
Well, that's great for NYRambler. That opens up all of Palace of Darkness for him.
Yeah, that's definitely the next place to go, is just head right there as soon as you finish this up.
That's right, this seed has been very deliberate with its breadcrumbs of saying, go here, here's your item, go here, here's your item, go here. And I think NYRambler will do well if he follows through on that and heads straight to the Palace of Darkness.
Gotta be a little careful with the puffs on Argus. If you hit them from below with the Master Sword, you will take damage.
Not a lot of health left, but it should be enough to finish this fight.
Ooh, Suiko taking a... getting picked up by the Wall Master there.
Oh, that's harsh.
That's a really rough spot to get caught by, because he's gonna have to farm up some before he's able to do the torch room.
That's right, I take back my earlier statement. Deep into Skullwoods is probably the worst time to get picked up, just because of the magic loss.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that, it wouldn't be that bad, but that's... especially because they don't have the lamp, so they can't even light the first 3 with the lamp. That's really rough.
Alright, so Rambler, this is Rando, I'm talking about Rambler, has cleared out Swamp. Looks like he's going to check the Circle of Flowers and the cave there.
Not a bad idea, since they already did the south loop here. There's not really a good time to route it back in, so you don't want to leave it hanging out there.
Yeah, best to grab it right now when it's the smallest time loss. And that red rupee not interesting to him.
Suiko farmed up enough magic and was able to get back through that torch room there. He's also trying to pick up a few hearts on the way.
He's going to have enough for, I think, 2 or 3 fire rod shots on Mothula, and then it'll be him and his Master Sword.
That's going to be a little bit tough with this amount of health. This is going to require a good clean fight.
Getting hit by some beams and just getting pushed away by that floor so that his spins aren't hitting.
We see Rambler picking up a 20 rupee from the Furious Bat.
Yeah, now that all those heart pieces are gone, they're starting to finally find the 20 rupees.
Ooh, 1 heart. Oh!
Oh no! So Suiko takes the fall to Moldorm. Or Mothula. Having beaten Moldorm earlier.
The other bad part about taking the death there is, again, you'll have to farm up more magic. It's just brutal death there. Not necessarily the time it takes to get back to the boss, but just having to grab resources.
That's right. And Rambler is making the play for the Palace of Darkness. Again, exactly the right call here. The one thing he might have to deal with is doing some of these rooms in the dark.
At least he has the fire rod, so 2 of the rooms you can light torches in, and that'll help a lot. So you're just left with the dark maze. But it is interesting where the lamp is hiding, because you shouldn't be able to get through Palace of Darkness via the logic, unless it's hiding in the beginning of it.
It could be hiding in here. It could be in Spike Cave, which neither runner checked. Or it could also be on that graveyard ledge, which they've technically got access to by a very winding path in the graveyard.
That's a spot I really like to route in when I have the boots, so I could get the Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb as well. Without that, just going directly for that one is rough.
That's right. And we did see Suiko get turned into a bunny a few seconds ago, which, on his current sprite, he gets turned into an 8-bit version of Luigi.
That is fantastic. They did some really great work on these sprites.
They absolutely did. I'm consistently floored by just how many options there are and how good they all look.
Yeah, and adding new ones all the time. Every time I grab a ROM, it seems like there's new ones to choose from.
That's right. So Suiko out of magic again on Mothula, and for all he's hitting the moth, that moth is getting bounced into the spikes an awful lot.
Ooh, another unfortunate death there.
Very.
It might not be a bad idea to mirror out of here and flute over and grab some safeties. Just to make this a little easier. I
completely agree. And it looks like he's going to do that. So Rambler did, at the big key location in Pod, find a mushroom.
Our second fetch quest item, which is also a good excuse to fill up with some safeties while you're there turning it in.
That's right, it's too bad that Suiko doesn't have it right now. And there's the Titan's Mitt. Titan's Mitt on the right side of Pod, blocked by the bow.
That is an incredible place for that.
Which was blocked in Swamp Palace, guarded by the mirror, for which you needed the cape that lived in the house that Jack built. So once again, we're seeing this seed send the runners into a dungeon, give them a new item, and really point them strongly in that direction. I'm thinking they might go to Misery Mire next, or Ice Palace.
Yeah, this will be, I think, our first chance to really see a possible split that either way could lead to something, with both being completely completable. Ooh, the unfortunate fall off the collapsing bridge.
Actually, I'm going to revise my statement a bit. They don't have the Cane of Samaria. So Misery Mire is a lot less attractive than going into the Ice Palace, where at least they've got the Fire Rod, they can clear it out.
Ice Palace it is.
Rambler's making...
we need some... Go ahead.
Oh, Rambler's making his way through the back of the Palace of Darkness and showing us why it's often called the Palace of Keys.
I actually just learned the other day that there was I was actually just learned the other day that there was a torch there, so it makes this room much easier to do in the dark when it's not dark.
That's absolutely right. And he finds the big key and the Book of Medora in the basement there.
And he save and quits.
Not up for
confident
the
with
dark maze.
rooms.
Interesting play. A bit surprising. Based on his other dark rooms, I thought he'd go in and do that, but I guess he does have a lot of the world open to him again with the Titan's Mitt.
So he's going to head over here and check the shed, and I imagine Checkerboard Cave, along with the entrance requirement here, and then maybe pop into Pendant Desert now that he has the book? Well, I guess he already has the glove, so he doesn't need the book, but maybe he thinks it's pointing him that way.
It certainly is. There's the lamp.
Well, there you go.
And Suiko's made his way back to Mothula. Bit more health this time. And there he has it.
He earns his hard-earned compass. And 20 more rupees in Checkerboard Cave.
So, with the lamp locked behind the Titan's Mitt, that was at the end of that entire chain I recited earlier, this seed was giving them a very, very late lamp.
Which also means it was an intended double dip into pod.
That's right. So Rambler cashes in that mushroom, sees it's worth 10 arrows, doesn't want those but is going to take the chance. I'm here, I've got tons of money, I'll get some blue potions.
No reason not to. Don't be a hero. This Soiku, I think, is heading towards the Fat Fairy now to get his absolutely nothing.
And NYRambler's got his lamp. He's much happier with the outlook in pod. He's going to head straight back in there.
Murderdactyl almost living up to his name.
And he's gonna heal up, not take any chances. Suiko, trying to buy the giant bomb, realizes he's spent his money on potions and can't go purchase it right now.
That's actually a blessing in disguise if he heads into Swamp here.
I agree.
Oh, but he's gonna head over to the cave to farm some cash up.
Oh. Unfortunately for him, we know that needs to go right now.
Luckily, he won't spend too long in here building up the cash that he needs, but every second wasted at this point is not helping.
No, at this point in the race, NYRambler's in a fairly reasonable lead, being almost the entire Palace of Darkness ahead, as well as the entirety of Swamp Palace.
Things can change pretty quickly depending on how trolly Samaria and Ice Rock. Plus, we don't know what Turtle Rock's medallion is either.
All of that is entirely true. This seed is, well, in fact, no seed is over until it's over.
This one might just be saving its trolls.
So just the compass in the big chest and pod And I think NYRambler is now going to take on Helmasaur King.
It's always a tricky shot with the bow to hit that switch.
It's a tricky shot, and one that's not even obvious that you can do it. I'm not always convinced that that ability was intentional.
Yeah, I doubt that it was. I didn't even know you could do it till I was watching the previous tournament and saw people doing it. I was like, oh, well that makes it much easier.
Suiko dropping off his bomb, tugging violently on the wall. He wants in there. And I think that's going to make him more disappointed at 20 rupees, 10 arrows, and a bunch of sword slashes.
These sword slashes of frustration, I know those feels.
So hopefully he makes the turn to go down to Swamp Palace right now.
That hopefully is the way he's headed, and not to Pod.
As chat's pointing out, he does not have the rupees to open Pod right now. So fortunately he's going south. He's not going to get tripped up there.
That is
and
good.
This is where he needs to go.
Being poor comes in handy for a change.
And Rambler comes upon Helmasaur King. I'm expecting a pretty quick fight here, especially with the silver arrows.
Not using the strat where you hold your sword out, that's a little surprising, but he's doing really well at it.
Yeah, bouncing back and running straight in, over and over. 17 hits, and all it takes is one silver arrow.
That was a really good fight. Not too many people do it that way, and that was really well done.
It seems we're not out of pieces of heart. They're still lurking.
Did Argus have anything? Did Argus have anything? I don't.
Argus had a map.
He had the map.
I think.
The pirate burrito from Argus.
So, interestingly, Rambler, I think, has 3 items from this dungeon as he goes back into Eastern. But I think he's kind of expecting it's a pedestal seed. And so he wants to clear it out just while he's in the area.
We might be seeing some blind pedestal pull hype.
That'll be fun.
It's an interesting decision, but not actually that bad, because he's going to have to head eventually to Mire anyway, so you can just clear Mire and Desert back to back, and then you'll have all 3 of your pendants if you need them.
That's right. It's a bit of an upfront investment, but if it turns out they need that pedestal, it's really going to pay off for them. Unfortunately, the bow being in the Palace of Darkness, the book being in the Palace of Darkness meant it wasn't really a great idea, and they didn't have a chance to check the pedestal before now. So Suiko's also doing Swamp Palace right now, and it looks like he's going to do the full clear, which I think was what he needed to do for Quake.
Yes, I believe that was in the Vanilla Big Key chest.
That sounds correct. And since we know Quake's required from Mire, that's the right play to be making.
Nice quick Armos fight with the silver arrows to pick up his green pendant. I forgot that was the green pendant, so we could have a Sahasrahla check right now, and could very well be something important.
That's right, I think I had forgotten that too. I think that makes this play even better.
The fun party trick of mirroring in the middle of the woods right into Sahasrahla's hut. Or being slightly off.
Getting trolled very slightly by that location. It is possible... Oh, just 5 bomb upgrade. It is possible to warp out that door, or warp out of the Dark World, and be directly in the door. But I've seen that happen and people walk into the portal too quickly. So I like giving it that little bit of extra space.
Especially if you intend to flute out of there when you're coming back out anyway.
That's right. So it looks like Rambler is heading to Death Mountain now. Possibly for the Spike Cave.
Spike Cave, and he can also clear the Dark World Death Mountain now that he's got the Titan's mitts.
That's right, and while he's at it, he can check out what's required to get into Turtle Rock.
Always nice to have that information before you go wandering around Ice Palace, not in go mode when you could be.
That's completely correct. Suiko did get his Quake Medallion, so he can get into Mire, though he doesn't know it.
And he also did the mirror out.
Fascinating duality. Or sync up.
It's almost like it's planned.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Just kidding.
And at the Ether Tablet, NYRambler finds a piece of heart, surprising no one.
Suiko picks up his magic powder.
Unfortunately, just 20 rupees at the bat, but he doesn't know that yet.
I think the tablets do have like a 99% chance of being garbage, except in Christos' race earlier where it was a sword upgrade.
A sword upgrade locked behind a level 2 sword. Now that is nasty.
It doesn't get much trollier than that. Is Suiko picks up his bow and his half magic. I'm sure he's absolutely thrilled to see those.
Yeah, and we did see Bombos required for Turtle Rock. So not what they have.
Still have a shot at a nice trolley item.
I'll be honest, I wish the best for our runners. I really do. But I do hope that Bombos is on pedestal.
That would be pretty fantastic. Rambler not quite getting the clip into the block there with the hook shot. That's a tough trick to pull off.
So it looks like Suiko clears out Swamp Palace, except for Argus, realizes Argus only has a map, and is just going to head straight into Pod, which is the next progression for him.
Yeah, that'll work out well for him as long as there isn't anything on the pedestal.
Exactly.
And if he's comfortable with the Dark Maze, he'll gain a little bit of time.
That's right. Based on what I've seen him do so far, I don't think he'll do the Dark Maze. but hopefully he'll find the lantern right away.
Are boots required for Desert Palace? I don't think we've popped in there yet. And Desert is a pendant, so don't know if we will be popping in there.
Maybe they are?
Although that will be a fun troll if the Ganon Tower Big Key is on the torch and they go through this whole thing bootless.
NYRambler returns the bombs. Or returns the old man, finds 3 bombs. Returns the bombs, finds the old man.
Takes the Kakariko portal to the Dark World. Not sure where he's headed.
Possibly the north side of the Dark World. I guess there's only one chest he can get there. Or rather, one item.
The ledge.
Yeah. And it looks like that's where he's going. He does have access to full clear the Ice Palace right now, which I think is where the seed is hoping he's going to go.
It seems that way. The only thing I could be thinking is maybe he's looking to hopefully pick up the Tempered Sword before having to do Cold Stare. I know that's not a fight that I enjoy.
No, that's an understandable thing to search for. And it's just a heart container at the ledge. Suiko, working on Palace of Darkness, picks up his mitts. From the right side.
Looks like heading back to the Village of Outcasts, probably going to do... Did he do the Dwarven Breadsmith already?
He hasn't. I think that's the play now.
A vanilla Tempered Sword would be entertaining.
I'm holding my breath for it.
Breadsmith never has anything good until he has something good.
I mean, as much as that's true for every location in the game, I feel like it's more true for a couple of places, and the Breadsmith is one of them.
Absolutely.
Just not helpful in almost every game, and you don't want to check it until finally you break down, you check it, and, well, we'll see what it turns up.
The world's slowest game of Whack-A-Mole yields just another bomb upgrade. And nothing but 20 rupees.
For a 10 rupee cost, that's a successful investment that does not progress his seed at all.
Will be Hyrule stock trading lessons at 10 Pacific.
I'm excited. I'll tune in. So Suiko is going to tackle the dark rooms down here. Get his big key and his book.
He is also mirroring out, not wanting to do the dark maze. And no, we have not had a pedestal check yet, so there still could be a couple of items on it.
And just 10 arrows in the purple chest. Rambler's probably going to head over and check Bombo's tablet right now.
10 arrows is a bad lunch. After mirroring out of Palace of Darkness, Suikoboj headed over towards the mire area, so he will get his lamp. Well, he's not going to check the shit, he's going right to desert.
And there's the ice rod at the Bombo's tablet of all places. So that's one more troll item they don't have to worry about.
Alright, so what do we have left? So we need Bombos and the Cane of Samaria. And possibly the boots.
That's right, and it looks like Rambler is going to go check that pedestal right now. Read a book in front of it and see what he can learn.
This will be good information as Suikoboj picks up his lamp.
And just a little piece of love.
Of course it is.
Of course it's another heart container. Well, I was holding out hope for a pedestal seed, but I think these runners still have enough race in front of them that I'll survive. Rambler opting to pick up those 10 arrows that Suikoboj has no interest in, as we see a bit of a high five from these runners. I don't think either of them expected a high five here, but...
And it looked like heading to Ice Palace.
It looked like Suikoboj was perhaps trying to... Oh no, he filled up his bottles here. He did have the money for that. So I think Rambler has cleared pretty much every part of the overworld that he can. So...
everything but Spike Cave, I believe.
That's right. That's right. So... we're expecting some sort of progression. There's Bombos in Ice Palace.
Alright, well, that gets him into Turtle Rock. Just need the cane and we are pretty much good to go.
That's right. And that cane... I guess it can't be hiding in Turtle Rock.
It can pretty much be in Ice Palace, it could be Vanilla, or it could be in Spike Cave.
That's right.
Shovel in the GT tile room, big key on the torch, boots at the dig spot. I think that's the trolliest idea we have left.
I do know that with version 26 of the logic, and its emphasis on double dipping, everyone's doing what they can to come up with the worst Ganon's Tower you can see. And that's probably it with what they have left in this seed.
That would be pretty bad.
So Suikoboj's now back in Dark Palace, doing the Dark Maze, getting his heart container. Very healthy seed, as he's now at 14 whole hearts and NYRambler has 16. NYRambler forgetting for a moment that he needs to kill this jelly for a key.
We'll see how well he lines up the Ice Palace bomb jump here.
And looks like he has a very gray bomb jump there. As we're seeing his stream just get paused for a few seconds. I'm sure they'll sort that out on the back end. Suiko, meanwhile, just needs to go and kill Helmasaur, and he'll be done with Pod.
Rambler having a little bit of trouble with the bomb jump.
Gonna drink that potion to make sure he doesn't get warped back out through a death.
Yeah, that would not be fun in this dungeon, that is for sure. Oh, and he got the bomb jump and then got knocked off the side trying to avoid the fire bar.
As Suiko shoots the statue in the eye, heads down into the basement of the Palace of Darkness.
Rambler just 1 pixel off on the bomb jump, gives up on it, and goes and flips the switch. Which I have to admit, I don't actually know how to do this dungeon with the switch in this direction, doing it vanilla, so I'm actually very interested in this. But
well, it certainly takes a lot longer. And without the cane, the ending of it gets a bit hairier. But I think when you've missed that jump a few times, you're probably a bit frustrated with it. Just advancing through the dungeon is a better play than trying it over and over.
Yeah, the tilt factor on that jump can get really high really fast. Especially when you get across there once and then get knocked off by the fire bar. So we see Suiko taking out King Helmasaur here the more traditional way with the holding the sword out approach.
That's right. That extends the hitbox of the hammer just slightly, and it means you can keep facing forwards the whole time.
The frustration slashes by NYRambler. The ice physics are always a good time.
Yeah, and especially without the boots, navigating that ice and stopping where you want to gets very challenging.
The hardest part about not having the boots on the ice physics is doors. I can never get through doors.
That's right. So Suiko cleans up on Helmasaur. 4 crystals under his belt, which brings him to the same crystal count, actually, that NYRambler has. But instead of going to ice, it looks like he, too, is going to take on Dark Death Mountain.
I mean, this isn't a bad idea at this point, because you now have access to it, and it gives you that knowledge of Turtle Rock, so you know what you need to get in there, but I think his best chance of catching up would have been to just go right to Ice Palace and get it done.
I'm inclined to agree. Just with the emphasis on dungeons in this game, it does seem best to go straight through where you can and pick up anything that appears on the way. Looks like NYRambler probably mirrored out of this dungeon at some point to come back in. And it does look like he got the boots.
Alright, so with the boots in hand, I'm wondering if that means we might have a Cane of Samaria in desert.
On the torch or locked behind something on the torch seems very probable right now. Certainly it would be a good play to make, or a reasonable play to make before diving into Mire.
Yeah, it's so fast to check, especially if you only need to check the front half. It might not be a bad idea because they're going to be headed over towards the Mire area anyway.
That's completely correct. So Suiko makes his way to the top of the Death Mountain. He's going to check the Hookshot Cave.
He's going to find a few bucks, but that's about it.
Oh, taking an unfortunate slip.
These platforms aren't made of ice, but sometimes it feels like they are.
Yeah, there's not a lot of space for error.
And I think he's headed over towards Spike Cave. This could be big, because we do not know what's in here yet.
That's right. If this has the Cane of Samaria, it could put him back ahead a bit.
He's going to check the tablet.
And again, still unsurprisingly, Piece of Heart.
And taking the portal back to the Dark World. Guess it doesn't matter which one you take. I don't know if the mirror portal is any quicker than the normal one.
I'm not sure myself. I don't think it's
I wouldn't be surprised
enough for
if
him
there's
to worry
some-
about.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some difference that all the extremely good runners know about.
No, quite honestly, that would not surprise me either, given the variety of strange coding that goes on in this game.
Absolutely, as we see some Gatorade in Spike Cave. So it looks like Rambler's headed into the Cold Stare fight.
It also looks like, while he was in Ice Palace, Rambler found the Ether Medallion. In addition
yes,
to
he did.
Bombos and the boots. So that's a profitable dungeon for them.
Ether not required for anything, but if you have it on your bingo card, you can mark it off.
Bingo. I suppose he did make the top row of items first. So Suiko's heading back to Kakariko, probably to do the Village of Outcasts again. I'm thinking he's going to do another Smith play.
And that'll lead to the Bombos medallion if he carries it all the way through, so that will help. Or no, excuse me, it's the ice rod on the Bombos tablet, sorry.
Yeah, just as an extension of going in that area. So following this quest kind of looks like a dead end, but will pay off for him if he does it right.
Rambler's heading towards the Bonk Rocks.
Cash in those boots.
Not a bad idea there. Hit this spot in the King's Tomb.
So it looks like he did beat Cold Stare while he was in there. As Suiko returns to cash in on his investment. Interestingly, it looks like Rambler's not going to check the King's Tomb. Unless that was something that happened while his stream was paused.
He might have save and quit the Sanctuary, did King's Tomb, and then went over to Bonk Rocks, possibly.
That's very probable, and given how thorough he's been, I think that's what he did.
Little trouble getting into the portal with hook speed there. Can be a little tricky.
So Suiko gets his 20 bucks from the bat. He's going to go deliver that purple chest right now. But first, the whack-a-mole.
Rambler picks up his Gatorade. Good to stay hydrated.
And you need those electrolytes.
So I imagine he is off to the Mire area now. We'll see if he takes a look into Desert first.
That's right. Getting those boots opened up a couple of locations that he kind of had to do his diligence on before he went into Mire.
Yeah, Mire's not a spot you want to have to go through without the cane just to realize that it's stuck behind a boots locked spot. And that looks like what he's going to do is to pop into Desert. I think that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah, especially with boots. It could be very quick to get all the items he needs in here.
Yeah, and then he can mirror right out and be right at his portal, so very quick.
Small key on the torch, which means the boots were required for the right side of this dungeon.
And there's the big key. Ooh, and Suiko fluting to turn in his purple chest, so he'll have to go back to the Dark World if he wants to go check the Bombos tablet.
That's an unfortunate play, and it's one that I hope he doesn't... Well, I hope he doesn't forget that location. I hope he keeps it in the back of his mind.
Yeah, that's a spot that you could forget pretty easy once you start getting a little bit tilt mode trying to find that last item if it's the ice rod.
So Rambler just finding, I think, the compass and the map on the right side of this dungeon. So some useless items locked behind the boots.
It's gonna be a cane at Lamo, some bombs in the big chest. He's thinking about going to finish it, but he's going to head into Mire.
This is an interesting choice. For his sake, I do hope the keen's in Mire. Suiko just a few seconds behind in Desert Palace, doing the same checks. We'll see if he goes into the back for Lanmo.
doesn't have the boot, so he couldn't get the small key, so he couldn't check the right side.
No, he does have the option to do the back half of the dungeon, but it looks like he's going to pass. He might be going for the Bombos tablet.
Yeah, that's really the only thing that I could think of that you'd warp here for. Not the most efficient way to get it, but at least he will get his ice rod.
That's right, and hopefully that will then send him into Ice Palace.
There's the cane! First chest in Mire.
Whew, that's a lot of the overworld to explore. To find the cane. Right inside.
Right where it needs to be.
So that is go mode for NYRambler. That is everything he could possibly need to finish this seed. Including the boots, if the big key is on the torch in Ganon's tower.
The only thing that could really cause him any problem is Master Sword Ganon, but at least he has the silver arrows to make that somewhat tolerable. Suikoboj is headed to Ice Palace now, so that's good.
That's right, he'll be able to pick up, I think, Bombos, Ether, and Boots, we said.
Yep.
But he is a bit low on health. So hopefully he drinks a potion at the right moment here.
Yeah, a couple of bad bodies by the penguins can be an issue. Is Rambler taking a little bit of a beating in the tile room there?
Yeah, he's not doing too hot himself for health. Suiko's in the know that the hookshot just destroys those penguins, and so that's Bombos for him.
Oh, and a Wizrobe spawning in the room catches Rambler, taking away that last half a heart.
That's a nasty place for that.
Yeah, if you're not paying a total attention because you're not thinking they're gonna spawn, because they don't spawn about half the time you walk into that room, it seems. They can sneak up on you. Suikoboj also skipping the bomb jump in Ice Palace.
That's right, so we might see that he has to use the mirror later on to warp out. Looks like Rambler found the big key in the Misery Mire.
So he is on to what should hopefully be an easy Vitreous fight with silver arrows.
Silver arrows, blue mail, 16 hearts. I hope this is easy for him. Is 60 arrows when they're silver enough to take out Vitreous?
I think, but you know, if he finds any more on the way, it wouldn't hurt to pick them up.
That big eyeball does take twice as many arrows as the small ones do.
It's true, it's a very big eyeball.
Suiko using the cape to make sure that even if he's sliding on the ice, that fire rod or fire bar isn't going to swing around and knock him down.
It's not a bad idea, especially when you have a couple of potions and half magic. You know, you can refill if you need more.
That's right. So it looks like Suiko's going to head through the right and kind of upper side of Ice Palace, the part that we didn't see Rambler do, and Rambler's going to take out those silver arrows and go to town on Vitreous. Doesn't quite get rid of the eyes before the lightning attack gets off, but still a very clean fight.
Yeah, no issues.
Needing
there
only
whatsoever.
13 arrows.
So I will be interested to see from this point on how much time he spends checking any chests looking for a tempered sword.
That's right.
You don't have to go too far out of your way to grab some, so it's, you know, you're looking for the big key anyway. And most of them are on your way, so as he grabs a couple of safety blue pots, also a very good idea.
Yeah, this is his last time down in Hyrule. Might as well make the most of that. And Suiko gets his boots.
They were in the upstairs room there.
So yeah, I expect, as we said, Rambler is going to check all of Turtle Rock, do the full clear, and then it'll just be a question of, does he go for every chest in Ganon's tower until he finds a tempered sword? Or does he get the key, run straight upstairs, and hope for the best?
Yeah, it just all depends on how comfortable he is with the front half of Spinny Ganon.
I mean, he could try spinning, that is a good trick. And we did see Suiko get the Ether Medallion from the big chest in Ice Palace. And then it looks like he did a mirror warp out.
Yeah, I probably would have done the same. I'm not actually sure how you, without the red cane, get anywhere from there.
It's intended that you go down to the bottom where you can switch the blocks again, then come back from the big chest side and push the block and drop down. But that takes a long time to run around.
Yeah, really.
Especially if you're hunting for things in the dungeon, you can get turned around a bit. Unfortunately for him, we know that the cane is in Mire, so he could have taken that to make this easier, but without arcane, clearing this was the better choice.
Yeah, absolutely, this was the right play. But hopefully he makes the sort of gamble to go to Mire next, instead of checking the overworld locations that he hasn't.
He does get the Ice Palace bomb jump off.
Nicely done first try.
Yeah, so this will set him up to run straight through the dungeon, not worry about any of those blocks. He can push the brick down and go straight to Cold Stare.
Oh, my least favorite room in the entire game, the chain jerk room.
They hit so hard and they move so unpredictably. NYRambler takes a few hits before he makes it through the door.
Getting through there alive is still a win in my book. Even with blue mail, those things hit a ton.
As Suiko pushes that brick down, runs to Cold Stare. Between Bombos, Fire Rod Half Magic, and maybe even the Hammer Strats, this should go pretty easily for him.
Yeah, the half magic here helps a lot, especially if you take off the shell with Bombos. This is a great idea.
And it looks like he's just going to go Fire Rod strats with how much damage that thing does to Cold Stare. He won't quite get it.
It's a lot easier to deal with one puff than three, though.
Oh, so much easier.
Down to 2 hearts.
And of course the way it goes is, as soon as you have that safety and you drink it, you don't get hit at all.
Oh, never. Perfectly executed every time afterwards.
Right, which is the true purpose, I think, of drinking the safety, is to make the rest of your fight go better.
It's actually not even a potion, it's Michael Jordan's secret stuff. Just makes you play better.
Oh, that's what's going on. I understand much better now. Unfortunately, he's headed to Kakariko.
And we know that he isn't going to find what he's looking for.
No, barring the piece of heart on the heart container on the graveyard ledge, I don't think there was any value at all in these checks that NYRambler did.
Yeah, we didn't see what was in King's Tomb, but we know that it wasn't particularly important.
That's right.
As we see Rambler heading towards the laser bridge in Turtle Rock.
Well, he didn't get a sword upgrade.
And he is still looking for a small key in addition to that sword upgrade. And he gets his small key. And check the last chest for his burrito.
So I think we saw both the compass and the map in that last room. So Trinex could still hold a sword.
That would be an awful place for Tempered. We'll see if he chooses to use Hammer Strats or go with the Master Sword here.
And Suiko is going to convert on that King's Tomb, see what's in there. He can show us finally it's just 20 rupees.
This king was not a rich king. see the Master Sword strats on Trinex going for the Ice Head first, which isn't a bad idea with the Master Sword, so he doesn't lay down any ice blocks on the ground.
That's right. Ice Head takes a bit longer to come out at the start, so it makes for a slower fight, but if you know you're going to be in here, you want to keep that floor clean. He gets dinged a couple of times by the head of Trinex, but that's what the blue potion's for. It's to make sure he won't get hit again. And as he finishes up Trinex, Suiko, deep in thought about where he should go next, decides on the eastern part of the world and Eastern Palace.
Hoping that that green pendant has something, and he's going to be disappointed.
That's right. Now, the one other thing is that dark room chest, or the chest behind a dark room, that contains the vanilla big key. He never made it to that chest. So this has been bugging him probably for the last 2 hours.
That's true, he wouldn't know what's in there, and he's probably banking on that being something good instead of a chest of disappointment.
It's a heart container. It'll bring him to 17. He will get the heart lead.
Well, that's all that matters, right?
Perhaps not at this point. As NYRambler makes his way to Ganon's tower. There is a silly little game we like to play here, where you choose a chest between 1 and 22 and try to guess where the big key is. Where do you think it'll be?
I'm thinking, because we got the boots, they have to be useful for something, so I'm going with the torch. How about you?
You know, I'm tempted to guess the torch because of that boots they found. But I'm going to say what I always say, which is it's going to be on Bob's chest.
Well, they have a key, so we can see a right side play here, and that looks like what Rambler's going to do.
He is going to skip the tile room, not wanting to wait around for a minute right now.
Suiko using cane strats to hit the switch to get his heart piece, and he bails out as soon as he finds it.
Cane strats are not something I'm used to seeing over there. Usually because we don't see the cane that early in the seed, when most runners do it.
Very true.
And on the right side of Ganon's tower, a shovel, a fourth bottle, and 600 rupees in one room.
Ganon's stash is definitely doing well. He obviously was using that dwarven investment firm.
Yeah, I think he stole all the king's money.
Suiko's heading to Misery Mire, which we know finally is the right play.
He's going to get the heart on the way in, and then open it up.
And then take a swim.
Or not. I think he's going back to desert.
Yeah,
He's got the boots now. He saw that small key on the torch. He's going to do the same diligence that Rambler did.
Yeah, which is really the best idea, but 2 hours and 10 minutes in, it might have been time for a gamble there.
That's right. As Rambler finds the big key in the skeleton room. Normally we'd call that chest 7, but since he was checking on the right side first, that's chest 11. And yes, Samaria was inside Mire. So,
First chest inside Mire.
Understandably, Suiko doesn't want to go in there until he's ready, but that's where he's got to go. This is just going to be a compass and a map for him.
As Rambler makes his way up Ganon's tower, taking care of the Igors there. Or excuse me, the Mimics. Into the Igor room now.
And Suiko, with the Quake Medallion, is going to go into Misery Mire.
Oh, I didn't even notice Rambler picked up the Tempered Sword. That will make the rest of this pretty easy peasy.
I didn't either. I'm not sure where he found that.
Ah, the sword was a Trinex. I definitely missed that completely.
Wait, so I called that and then I didn't notice it?
Doesn't count if you didn't notice it.
Ah, shucks. As NYRambler makes his way into the ice rooms of Gauntlet, and that skeleton just keeps jumping out of his way.
Those red skellies might be the second worst enemy in this entire game.
Especially on ice.
Is that a new Disney production, Skeletons on Ice?
I would go watch that one.
Halloween season only.
Rambler not quite getting the landmos with his silver arrows.
Very easy to get messed up in that room due to all the lag. The fireballs coming across just make that room miserable.
That's right. It feels like every single object in that room lags the game a different amount.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not even like consistently bad frame rate. Using ether strats, I like it.
Yeah, he missed the first attack on all those whiz ropes with his cane and said, I don't have time for this.
It wasn't required for anything, so you might as well use it.
Suiko, perhaps a bit off the mark here, heading up to the fish room in Misery Mire, not following the usual routing to get to the rest of the dungeon.
Some of the rooms in this game, they definitely had a sense of humor when they came up with, and that is one.
Let's make a giant room that no one has to go to beat the game, that forces you down a strange path, and let's shape it like a fish.
Seems perfectly logical.
Yeah, I mean, before it was shaped like a fish, I didn't like that room at all, but now we have a room.
Rambler grabbing the big magic refill before he heads into Moldorm 2. Not remembering to switch over to the hook shot.
So it looks like he's happy with Tempered.
And he validates.
Validates with another piece of heart. So Suiko running into a bit of health difficulties, but he did pick up that powder. I think it was in Swamp Palace, and that's going to keep him through this.
Yep, that was in the vanilla hookshot chest. Get a nice double there by Rambler on Agatu. A little bit of a weird setup on that one.
Getting backed into the corner in an unfortunate way.
And he finishes it up with a single.
So, he has Tempered Sword, he has Blue Mail, he has 2 blue potions. It's time for Ganon.
He's got everything he needs, just hopefully he's not nervous thinking this is too close and makes any mistakes.
That's right. We know that he's got a very solid lead in this race, but from his perspective, it could be very close. 2 hours and 15 minutes. He could be thinking, oh no, my opponent might be about to finish.
Yeah, this is definitely in range for that, so you gotta just be careful not to tilt too hard. Using the cape is a great idea here for the fire bats.
That's right, we can see just how hard they hit there, and being able to just power through this phase, especially when you have half magic, really takes a load off your mind.
He gets especially tricky when he spawns the little circle bat there. You can get knocked off pretty easy.
And yes, they did find the arrows in Eastern Palace almost 2 hours ago now.
Before the bow, obviously.
Long before the bow. So NYRambler doesn't get the torch glitch, and gets messed with a bit by Ganon here, but it doesn't look to be slowing him down. And Suiko wants that red mail before he heads up to Turtle Rock.
Never a bad thing to have in there. The end of the game obviously hits quite hard. As Rambler finishes up on Ganon with the last silver arrow.
That is this game for him. So he will win that race with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 17 minutes, 37 seconds.
GG.
So I've asked him, we'll see if he wants to step in here for a few words about this seed. Oh, he's already waiting, he says.
Oh, well then.
I will bring him in here. NYRambler.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, GG.
Thanks. That was interesting. The seed didn't seem too overly difficult, but some of the items placements were oof.
What in particular made you go oof, as you say?
Well, mainly the Cane of Samaria. I mean, it's a vanilla dungeon. But when I saw the bow and Quake and Swamp, I knew I made the right choice, I think, in the seed.
That's right. That was a very clear point where you just got a clear path to go straight ahead.
Yeah, I think
the seed seemed to give you a lot of that.
Yeah, it was very linear, it seemed, because basically when I went towards Agnes Cave, I was like, there has to be something here. I checked literally everywhere else, and I was like, all right, it's either got to be the book or the flute, and it was the flute. So it just every item just led me to the next place. Just that sometimes I didn't jump into, like, when I got the when I finally got the transmits, I did other things before I jumped to the Ice Palace.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about, is what you were thinking when you put off Ice Palace for a little bit there, just wanting to check more overworld locations.
Well, I'm not comfortable. As you saw, I wasn't comfortable doing the bomb jump quite, so I was looking for Cane of Samaria before I went in there.
Makes sense.
Because if I found Cane of Samaria, I didn't have to do the bomb jump because I was going to full clear it anyway, because I was looking for, at that point, I was looking for, I think, Bamos and the Cane, so I was just hoping I could find Cane elsewhere and hopefully find Bamos in there.
A reasonable assumption. So it looks like Suiko, your opponent, has done a forfeit from this race.
Yeah,
and he's in the waiting room as well, so we're going to bring him in.
All right.
Suiko, GG.
Yeah, good game.
Yeah, good
So,
game. Man.
first I have to ask you, is it Suikoboj or Suikoboj?
Suikoboj.
All right. So what are your thoughts on that seed?
I couldn't. It took so long to find the cane. For me.
It was certainly hiding from both of you.
Vanilla placements are always the worst.
The overall wasn't a terrible seed, at least. Could have been a lot worse.
That's right. I think I counted 1 or 2 forced double dips, but nothing too deep, and certainly not double dipping Turtle Rock.
The only logical double dip that I saw was Pod, and if I knew Dark Rooms, it wasn't necessarily double dip, because once I found the mitts in there, I did the Dark Room that I knew, left, went to Meyer area, found a lamp there, and immediately went right back to finish it.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of the same ideas on doing stuff like that, pretty much exactly the same, just at different points in time. It was really interesting to watch.
No, I just didn't want to try and double dip into Meyer in case Mario wasn't there.
Yeah, at that point, I dipped into Desert first, just to make sure there was nothing in there. I didn't kill land moles because I knew pedestal wasn't required, so I was like, all right, the very last place I'll check is land moles. If I couldn't find the cane in Meyer, it has to be land moles.
Yeah. Well, I knew it was either green pendant, because I never completed Eastern, I just got the last item and left.
Yeah.
And it was either green pendant or Namolus if it wasn't there.
Yeah, I defeated Armos, and right after I defeated Pod, I quickly ran in, killed Armos, and turned in the green pendant, but it was nothing.
I think you guys got all of the pieces of heart in that seed, and I think that's what Shirashala had.
He had that or a bomb upgrade, but yeah. I liked having 11 hearts before going into Swordless Thieves Town. That was a good feeling.
Yeah, this was a pretty healthy seed for both of you.
Who had the other sword upgrade?
I don't know, I had Tempered.
Tempered was from Trinex, I think.
Tempered was at Trinex, yeah. We didn't see the other one.
I would have gotten that, yeah. I only kept getting the sword upgrade, then I went to go get Red Mail before going up to T-Rock, which is where I was going, because I saw Master Sword Gaining coming up, even with all the hearts.
Well, I didn't have it on my stream because I have the sound off and the video off, but after I defeated Trinex with the Master Sword, I was like, please give me the Tempered Sword, and that's exactly what he gave me, so I was very happy. That's the only thing I was looking for.
Yeah, Fillion called that one for you, the commentator anti-jinx.
Oh, the commentator's blessing.
I in fact called it, and then was distracted as you defeated Trinex and missed it.
I hope someone clipped that then.
I don't think so, unfortunately.
Okay.
So, NYRambler, you were running around clearing pendant dungeons a lot. Were you thinking there was going to be a pedestal seed?
I just go by the logic of, alright, so this is when I was in Swamp. So I was in Swamp, I found the 2 huge items in there, and I was like, let me kill Argus just in case. I don't want to have to double dip into Swamp and have to do the entire dungeon all over again just in case.
So you weren't necessarily thinking, oh yeah, this is a ped seed. You were just hedging your bets, making sure.
Yeah, because where the bow was, it was like, all right, Argus is right there. It's only going to take me 2 minutes to kill it, so let me just get out of the way, because if it is a pedestal seed, I just wasted 10 minutes because I'm going to have to redo most of Swamp Palace.
Yeah, if it was a pedestal seed, I would have had a double dip into Swamp when I had gone back into Eastern, and then also go kill Namolus.
Yeah, I cleared Eastern mainly because it was the green pendant. If Eastern was the red and Desert was the green, I would not have done Eastern at all.
That's right. I think those are some reasonable choices.
Field 138 locations pre-boots. That is just miserable.
That boot location, though, that's my least favorite chest in the game.
Which I know it was in. Oh yeah, that's where it was
The
behind.
Vanilla Big Key and Ice Palace. It's terrible. Over
Yeah.
So far to go just to get those boots, and they weren't even required at the end.
Yeah, you didn't even need them.
That was something else I was worried about. As I found the boots, I was really worried that it was gonna be a big key on the lamp, on the torch seed, and I was then going there without boots was another
Yeah,
thing I was
that
kind of
would've
worried
been
about going in ice.
Yeah, we were kind of expecting the cane to be locked by the boots in desert or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, all right, that's why I went immediately after I found the boots. I was like, all right, I gotta go check out all the boot locations before I go into Mire. It felt nice though, knowing that, all right, the last two items, they can't possibly be in Turtle Rock because you need both of them to enter Turtle Rock. So that was a good feeling that the two Go Mode items were the two items needed for Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that was something that was really nice, knowing that Turtle Rock was gonna be dead last at least.
I was just hoping that you would get tripped up by the ice rod because it was in a really weird location as well. But I mapped it into the routing pretty easily.
That was a
I
very
had
strange
all-
ice rod.
I had almost forgot to go check Bombos when going to get the purple chest.
We were worried about you when you fluted the purple chest down there.
Yeah, and now I remember about Bombos, then I just went to Link's and just through the house and just walked down.
Yeah, I was able to do all those that four in a row as soon as I found Titan's Mid. Basically, the seed was very linear. It seemed. It's just that we had to waste time because of where the cane was.
Yeah.
That was about how we saw it out here.
All right, I'm going to bed because I gotta wake up in a few hours.
All right. Well, congratulations again. GG to you as well, Suiko. And we'll wrap it up here. So just some other notes. If you want more Randomizer, secondary tournament continues tomorrow. I can tell you right now there are matches being restreamed on the Randomizer Mania channels at 4 and 7 Eastern. As for the main tournament, Speed Gaming right now is about halfway through a match. And I'm expecting to see more matches on Speed Gaming on various channels starting as early as 2 tomorrow afternoon. So if you like Randomizer, stay tuned to Speed Gaming and Randomizer Mania. We have a lot coming in the next few months. So on that note, thanks very much to Cerbito Revarse for jumping in at the last moment to commentate with me.
No problem.
Thanks to Elias. Thanks to Elias for diligently tracking and clicking on things all evening long. And thanks to Randomizer Mania for hosting us here, and Alvi for providing a computer that could run this whole thing. I've been Philion. Thank you for the race. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.
Good night.